Probably one of the hardest things to do in this job is to knock on a parent's door and tell them that their son or daughter isn't coming home.
The Parents Matter campaign helps parents talk to their kids and take a stand against underage drinking.
Having that conversation with your child can not only save a lot of worry and grief, but it can save your child's life.
Parents do matter. Take a stand. Have the talk.
When I think about talking to our teenage son and our younger boys about underage drinking, I think about our communities and how sometimes it becomes hard for parents to talk to their teens because they start thinking about, well, what did I do as a teenager? And I think it's so important to say it doesn't matter about what I did in the past. It's not a rite of passage. It's about caring about our kids. It's about wanting to see them grow up.
I guess as parents, we just try to teach our kids to be responsible by being more proactive as parents instead of reacting to what they're doing. But if we, build those relationships and let them know how we stand on things and what we believe to help them make their own choices.
There's more pressure. They have to grow up a lot quicker. And their mind is not there or mature enough to handle it, the things that come across their ways. And I think they need a parent so much more now than ever before.
And that has to start when they're young. When you're talking about something as serious as drinking, underage drinking, getting in a car with someone who has been drinking, and that is a concern that parents have from the time that kids are exposed to alcohol all through college, even post-college. You can never talk enough about that subject with your kids.
We're learning year after year through the Parents Matter campaign how important that talk is, that conversation with your child about what's acceptable and what's not, about reaching out to the parent if there's a problem, if they're drinking, if they're with someone who's been drinking, and doing that in advance so that they don't end their night in a tragedy.
I had a lot of apprehension at first to have the talk about underage drinking, but what somewhat put me at ease was just simply talking with Michelle first. Go to your spouse, talk to them, get on the same page. How are we going to address this issue? How are we going to answer those tough questions when they ask us, well, did you drink when you were in high school? How are we going to answer those questions? And come up with a game plan before you even bring the child into the conversation. That way, I think you've got a leg to stand on. You've got support from your spouse, knowing that it doesn't matter if they talk to dad or if they talk to mom separately, they're getting a consistent message.
At that age, 18, 19, 20, they don't really want to hear what mom and dad have to say, but they will still listen. And they know what you have to say is the truth. Especially that continuing to make good choices comes into play as you send them off to college.
Now they're teenagers. They need to learn things about the real world. Wouldn't you rather have it come from you, what you know, than somebody else, or at least share with them? They will appreciate it. It might be hard and difficult at first and odd and uncomfortable, but they'd rather hear it from you.
Of all the messages that come from every direction about trying to make our roads safer for our teens, trying to have them avoid alcohol and drinking and driving, none of those messages compare to the power of the message the parents have. We know that parents matter.
We want to be more than just friends with our kids. We want to be their parents. We want to teach them right from wrong and to know that there are consequences whenever they make a wrong decision.
Sometimes parents want to be friends to the kids, and the kids don't need friends. They got plenty of friends. What they need is parents to tell them what the right thing to do is, and that's really important. And just if you're going to fly high, you got to fly straight. Just tell them that you set high expectations, and they'll surprise you. They'll probably live up to them.
Some parents really strive to be their child's best friend, and there are times that's appropriate. There are also times where parents need to be parents, in particular when it comes to the chances of their teen becoming involved in underage drinking and driving or riding in a car with someone else who's been drinking. That's when a parent needs to be a parent.
I think it's more than just talking to your own children. I think it's talking to your children's community and having some influence on that.
You know, they need to know that there's clear expectations and that there will be consequences if the situation happens. You know, what those consequences will be, I think depends on the situation, but whether it's, you know, if they've got a car, you take that away, or obviously if they're grounded, but obviously just taking that teachable moment and talking through that with them is just as important as the consequence.
Kids, the law is the law, and we expect you to obey the law. I know how hard it is. I know how tough it is. It was different for us, but that's the law is now. And you've just got to, we expect you to obey the law.
Check on them. You know, with today's technology, it's so easy to keep in touch with your kids. So easy to know if they're okay and where they are, and to keep tabs on them.
I think a teachable moment could even be if there has been an accident due to drinking and driving, or a life has been lost. You know, they know that, they hear it in the news, they see it. Talk to them about it. How are you feeling about that? Please know that as parents, that would absolutely devastate us. We love you unconditionally. We want to see you grow up. And these are the realities, the consequences that can happen if you choose to drink and if you choose to drink and drive. Use that as a teachable moment to talk that through with them about their feelings, and just knowing that we are doing this because we want you to be safe. We want to see you grow up. We care about you just too much.
The fact is, if you're a parent, you may be the last reason they have to say no. So give them that reason.
I think back to some of those doors that I've knocked on and some of those houses that I drive by every week. And it brings tears to my eyes when I go by the house. And I still feel the pain from years ago when they lost their son. Yet my tears and my pain don't compare at all to what the families still feel because they lost their son to an underage drinking and driving accident.
In 2006, 13 South Dakota teens died from underage drinking and driving, 13 needless teenage deaths. In 2007, the Parents Matter campaign began to motivate parents to be more involved in their children's decisions. And we witnessed a father's pain as he told how his son, Dustin Holter, was killed the night before his graduation. Joyce Glenn, Jody White, Mary Lou Boizo, and others also felt the pain of learning about their own child dying because of a drinking and driving tragedy. Since 2006, 62 preventable teenage deaths. But in 2013, we had no parents to interview. There were no deaths. Having the talk with your children about underage drinking and driving is working, proving that parents do matter. Take a stand. Have the talk.